Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on NTV at 1. My name is Gladys Gachanja. We start off with some sad news, and former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan is dead. Kofi Annan, the former UN Secretary General who won the Nobel Peace Prize for humanitarian work, died aged 80. He is said to have died in Switzerland this morning after a short illness. Annan, who was born in Ghana in 1938, served as the 7th UN Secretary General from 1997 to 2006 and was the first to rise from within the ranks of the United Nations staff. Annan also acted as a mediator during the post-election violence period in Kenya 10 years ago. Annan was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize jointly with the United Nations in 2001 for their work for a better organized and more peaceful world. He was married with 3 children. A lot of reactions to the demise of Kofi Annan, who passed away in Switzerland aged 80, and a lot of those messages coming through on Twitter and actually on his official handle. He says, or rather his family puts out, that it is with immense sadness that the Annan family and the Kofi Annan Foundation announced that Kofi Annan, the former Secretary General of the United Nations and Nobel Peace Laureate, passed away peacefully on Saturday, the 18th August, after a short illness. Now, his wife, Nane, and their children, Ama, Kojo, and Nina, were by his side during his last days. Now, he goes on to say Kofi Annan was a global statesman and a deeply committed internationalist who fought throughout his life for a fairer and more peaceful world. During his distinguished career and leadership of the United Nations, he was an ardent champion of peace, sustainable development, human rights, and the rule of law. Now, after stepping down from the United Nations, he continued to work tirelessly in the cause of peace through his chairmanship of the Kofi Annan Foundation and as the chair of the Elders, the group founded by Nelson Mandela. He was an inspiration to young and the old alike. Kofi Annan was the son of Ghana and felt a special responsibility towards Africa, and he was particularly committed to African development and deeply engaged in many initiatives, including his chairmanship of the Africa Progress Panel and his early leadership of the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa. Wherever there was suffering or need, Kofi Annan reached out and touched many people with his deep compassion and empathy, and he selflessly placed others first, radiating genuine kindness, warmth, and brilliance in all he did. Well, he goes on to speak a lot about what his family has come out to say, and also confirming the demise of Kofi Annan, who is said to have died in Switzerland peacefully, and that he was ailing but he died while surrounded by family members. Well, a lot of attributes coming through even from within the country, but I'll touch on some that actually remind us as a country the fact that he played a huge role in brokering peace in the country during the post-election 2007-2008 post-election violence, and of course he went ahead to walk with us even during the brokering of the then joint government. Well, the United Nations has also gone ahead to eulogize and speak of Kofi Annan, and of course it is remembered that he was the first African American or black man to actually run or be the UN Secretary General at the time. And of course he grew or went up the ranks, and he goes on as a man who left behind a huge legacy that most people continue to say he was a peaceful man, and he shall be remembered for the same. May his soul rest in peace. Now back home, Charles Kamuren has been elected as the Baringo South Member of Parliament in the just concluded by-election. Kamuren garnered 12,277 votes against Cynthia Kipchilat's 8,968 votes. Kipchilat's chief agent declined to sign the final results sheet from the REBC, claiming there were discrepancies in the results from one of their 132 polling stations. NTV's Bridget Sungana now joins us live from Marigat in Baringo South. Bridget, it was a long night, but how would you describe the voter tallying?
Well, Gladys, as you have said, it has been an arduous night for us who have been following up this by-election here in Baringo South. It was deemed a two-horse race, and indeed, even by the time the final results were being announced by 9 a.m. this morning, it was a competition, a cutthroat competition rather, between Jubilee Party's candidate Charles Kamuren and Maendeleo Chapchap's Cynthia Kipchilat. She was the only female contestant in this by-election, but by this morning, Kamuren was leading by more than 12,000 votes against her 8,000 votes. And this, in a sense, declared him the winner of this by-election. We have seen, as you have mentioned, Gladys, in your intro, that the chief agent of Cynthia Kipchilat refused to sign this final form, and they say that the discrepancy is in the tallying of results in one of the polling stations, in that the results that were indicated in the final form by the presiding officer conflicted with the number that is in the KIMS kit. And you know, this KIMS kit kind of have the number of voters registered at every polling station, but this is just one case, an isolated case according to the IEBC, and they said this would not prevent them from declaring Charles Kamuren as the winner. The Jubilee Party carries the day here in Baringo County, and it was deemed more or less of a local politics, a battle of supremacy between KANU and the Jubilee Party. We know that even as of now, in this election, there were undertones that there is a rivalry between the Deputy President and the KANU chair, Gideon Moi, but we have seen that also play out in this election. And in a sense, even during this announcing of results, we also witnessed some key government officials, for example, the Water Principal Secretary, who was there present during this announcing of this results. We've also seen the governor of this county also being present during the announcing of this results. So the Jubilee Party really did have high stakes in this by-election. Kamuren promises that his leadership will be more of a uniting factor in a constituency that has been known to be an area riddled by conflict. But here is Charles Kamuren's take on the announcing of his victory here in Baringo South after he was declared the winner of this by-election.
We need to move together right now for development. Issues of campaign is over. Now it's time for development, and I call upon every stakeholder, every leader, including those whom we were competing together, that we need to work together as a family towards the development of our people. We need unity. This Baringo South is important than anybody of us. So we need to be together as a family. I'm willing to cooperate with everybody because I want unity. These are constituencies where there is a lot of challenges in terms of security, and we need to move together.
So there he has put it as being a leader who has put aside the campaigns, drama, the rivalry and the competition, and is ready to work with a greater leadership here in Baringo County to ensure that this area develops. He inherits an area that has been riddled rather by insecurity, and this was one of the things that even when we were covering this election, were really putting our eyes onto it, but we did notice a heavy police presence, and successfully, or this exercise according to the IBC has been successful because we have not seen any hitches in terms of the decorum of the people. And even after these results were announced, we did see the second person in this competition giving a wide berth to this announcing of results, and it was only predominantly the Jubilee Party representatives who were here. We will be keen to follow up on how Cynthia Kipchilat responds to this win following her chief agent's refusal to sign this final results form. And maybe, in a sense, this will also kind of play out in the coming days, but officially, Charles Kamuren from the Jubilee Party carries the day in the Baringo South by-elections. Gladys.
Bridget Sangana is speaking to us from Marigat, where she has been following up the Baringo South by-election, and as she has noted, there was a smooth flow to the tallying of the same. However, a bit of discrepancy in terms of the numbers according to those that were actually for the second runners-up in this tallying, but we shall be keeping you updated on how that ends up. But as we speak, Kamuren has been declared the winner of that by-election. Just to remind you of our breaking news, even as you can see it at the bottom of your screen, is that former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan has died at the age of 80. His family has confirmed the same. They say he died peacefully in Switzerland, surrounded by his loved ones. They say he was also he was ailing but shortly, but either way he was surrounded by his family members when he passed on. A lot of messages coming through on Twitter and across board about a man who will be remembered the world over for the passion he had in ensuring that peace was realized across the world. Again, Kofi Annan, former UN Secretary General, is dead at the age of 80. Back home, National Lands Commission Chairman Mohammed Swazuri has written to the head of Public Service, Joseph Kenywa, accusing the state of infringing on his rights following his arrest by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission officials last Saturday. Swazuri further claims that the decision to appoint the Commission's Vice Chair, Abigail Mukolwe, as acting chairperson is unconstitutional. He also terms the actions against him as illegal and malicious, saying it is all a scam to oust him from the NLC. Swazuri's letter reads in part, both acts go against Article 259 of the Constitution of Kenya, which provides that public officers cannot be paralyzed or punished in the course of their work if their actions are done in good faith. The statement reads further, the magistrate ordered that I should not go to my office unless accompanied by a police officer, and after consulting with the new management, that order has apparently been translated by the vice chairperson to mean I have been suspended or interdicted. Now, Article 250 and 251 is clear on the process of appointment and removal of vacancy of the office of chairperson. Swazuri is now urging for immediate intervention from the Public Service Boss. Across the borders, Kampala Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago, who is also one of the lawyers of detained Chandondo East MP Robert Changulanyi, says the MP is in a worrying state of health and needs urgent medical attention. Lukwago was one of the few people, including the MP's wife and family members, who were allowed to visit him at Makindye military barracks, where he is detained. As Maurice Ochol reports, leader of opposition Betty Aol Ochan and other legislators were denied access to the MP.
On Friday morning, a team of legislators led by leader of opposition Betty Aol Ochan went to Makindye military barracks where Chandondo East MP Robert Changulanyi, popularly known as Bobi Wine, is being detained. The MP was transferred here from Gulu military barracks, where he was charged in the court-martial with illegal possession of firearms and ammunition. He was arrested from Arua on Monday night. The legislators were denied access to Makindye barracks. The soldiers manning the gate advised them to seek permission from the court-martial. There was heavy deployment of soldiers in and around the barracks.
What is the problem? Just seeing somebody and talking and maybe, being in solidarity with him, trying to support him to be strong and keep on.
The soldiers stuck at the gate stuck to their gun. The group of legislators remained outside and didn't see their colleague Changulanyi. However, earlier, Kampala Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago, who is one of the MP's lawyers, his wife and other family members, as well as officials of Uganda Human Rights Commission, were given access and they met Bobi Wine. Lukwago explained the MP's health condition.
Some of them were at the rank of major. They brought him, placed him in a chair where he was supposed to sit. He could not sit. It was all pain all through. He was all in tears. Everybody was in tears at that particular moment. So he could not talk. You could see he could not stand. He could not walk. His face was swollen. And when he tried to explain to us, he was talking with lots of difficulties. he was expressing to himself, or also narrating the audio, the situation. It was very, very difficult.
According to Lukwago, the Chadondo East MP needs better medical attention away from Machinde barracks.
They were not so sure, because when we asked, what are you going to do about him, look what the situation is deteriorating. What are you going to do about this? Or the doctor, I mean, that so-called doctor would explain that, look, we are also trying to think about what to do. Actually, you see, they were also in a panic situation.
Like something I had never seen in the world. I was falling down and he cried so much because this whole part of the body is so much painful, and it's having a very funny body shape. So his head is in danger because there's a lot of, it's in shapes, funny shapes. Also his leg, this side is a little bit okay, but we cannot tell.
In the afternoon, Uganda Human Rights Commission briefed journalists on their findings. They also said the MP was in bird shape. Maurice Chol, NTV.
Back in the country, former anti-graft chief and law professor PLO Lumumba is now asking lawyers to take their rightful place in driving the change agenda in the country. He challenged the law schools in the country to align their curriculum to cater to the changing challenges facing democracies like Kenya. He spoke during the award of charter to the Mount Kenya University Law School.
Mount Kenya University was in a celebratory mood. After years of existence, the institution is finally fully accredited as a legal education provider.
What we are doing today is just giving you an opportunity, especially for the young people. Time has come when we don't have to go to Uganda, we don't have to go to India, and for that case, Dean, we are not saying that we are not going to go to your country, but we are saying that Kenyans should be able to invest in their own country so that we don't have to really go to other countries searching for opportunities.
The accreditation comes as the Commission for Higher Education seeks to rein in the mushrooming of substandard colleges. While the university takes pride in joining the ranks of institutions qualified to offer legal education, the challenge upon them has been clearly defined.
Teaching our children, and I believe that his words apply with equal force and relevance now as they did in 1933. We must now begin to interrogate what are we training in our law schools. And it is something that is very relevant because even the Council of Legal Education takes the view, with which I do not agree, that if you are to be accredited, you still must read books that are written about the English common law.
Higher education is not only technical education. It is not a question of section this and section that. It is supposed to be holistic education where we also train on the cardinal virtues.
According to the former anti-graft chief, the caliber of lawyers produced by the learning institutions must be attuned to the country's and the region's unique challenges. The same event was also addressed by the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, who shied away from addressing the issue of graft in Parliament.
But I can tell you, if there is any issues that are needed to be ventilated on, we have the mechanisms in Parliament, and we also have opportunity that we can also interact with other agencies to go to the bottom of anything that might have arisen. I thank you very much, and God bless you. Thank you very much.
Brenda Wanga, NTV.
Irene Kalunda Kuti is searching for her daughter Deborah Ndanu, who disappeared on the 7th of this month. The 7-year-old girl disappeared at 5:30 p.m. at Moy Avenue around Galitos in Nairobi. The mother says she has searched for her daughter around Nairobi town but to no avail. She has also visited children's homes and she is appealing to anyone with information about her daughter to contact either the Central or the Shauri Moyo police stations. She's also available on 0713 701 124. That is 0713 701 124. And to just remind you about our breaking news is that the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan has died at the age of 80. His family has actually confirmed the same. He died peacefully in Switzerland after a short illness, and a lot of people coming out to speak of a man they will remember for finding peace in the most tumultuous situations. And one of those situations was actually right here in Kenya, as the Ghanaian leader was a key to the peace deal that was struck here in the 2007-2008 post-election violence. Remember the peace accord signed between retired President Mwai Kibaki and opposition leader Raila Odinga ended the violence that was sparked by a disputed election. And actually, if you can't remember, he intimated the fact that this was the most challenging mediation he has ever had to be part of or deal with. And he said, and I quote, my role in mediating the Kenyan post-election crisis was the most intensive and enduring of all my interventions. Just to take you back and remind you of the role that Kofi Annan played in this country. Listen in.
Not pretend as if nothing has happened. We cannot pretend as if we can continue doing business as we used to. That is not an option. So please understand, I'm going to engage the leaders, and I know all of you support the peace process. And we're going to engage them in the hope that we will find a way of moving much faster than we have up till today. I am optimistic, and so should all of you, and I think the people of Kenya deserve peace. They want it, and we should bring people together and help heal and reconcile the nation.
The former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, who passed away today, he is or was aged 80 after a short illness. His family has confirmed his demise, many remembering him for different things, but of course the most that people remember him for is the fact that he's a man who found peace in whatever situation he found himself in. And of course, he was not only the former UN Secretary General, he also won the Nobel Peace Prize for humanitarian work, and he was the first black man to actually sit at the helm of the UN as the Secretary General. West Pokot farmers are decrying the rise of the fall armyworm, which is threatening maize farming in the area. The county is grappling with an acute shortage of maize due to the recent drought, now worsened by the destructive worms.
Farmers from Kaikai village in Chepareria, West Pokot County are counting losses after their farms were invaded by fall armyworms.
Nililima eka 3, lakini mwishowe nilipata gunia 2 kwa hiyo eka 3. Na ilikuwa ni hasara kubwa sana. Ni kama tu ilienda off, hakuna kitu ile nilipata.
The farmers have no alternative ways to cushion themselves against the worms and have opted for traditional ways to control the spread. Others are using soil, washing detergents and pepper to try control the spread of the worms.
Tumetoka kwa wanyama kuelekea kwa kulima, na tumekuja kugundua kutumia kulima tumepata shida sana kwa wadudu. Mpaka sasa hivi hatujui vile tutaendelea.
Sasa tunaomba sana tutafutie dawa ya dudu.
The farmers say despite the heavy rains, the fall armyworm is proving a threat to maize farming.
Serikali isiposaidia wananchi wake, njaa itakuwa inji kabisa. Sababu mvua iko mingi, lakini viwavi imefamia shamba yenyewe. So onekana sasa ni kama ukamwe tu.
The small-scale farmers have now called on both national and county governments to come to their rescue. Halima Gungo, NTV.
German shipping company Hapag-Lloyd hopes its arrival in the country will further open up Mombasa to other ports. According to the management of the company, it will operate from Mombasa and Dar es Salaam to serve the wider Eastern African region. Now, the company says it has already started to create job opportunities for many Kenyans as it endeavors to improve the importation and exportation of perishable goods.
Unfortunately, we haven't been really present in the East Africa segment, which is what we are trying to achieve now. We started this year to run our services in and out of East Africa, especially Kenya.
Further afield, 44 people have lost their lives in Congo in the latest outbreak of Ebola. This has prompted the United States of America's Center for Disease Control and Prevention to come in and help control the deadly disease. In Nigeria, one person has died while many others injured after a building collapsed in Abuja.
78 new cases of Ebola have been recorded in the Northern East Democratic Republic of Congo. The latest outbreak of the viral disease, which is highly contagious and frequently fatal even treated, has prompted a visit by the head of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The outbreak is the 10th to strike the DRC since 1976, when Ebola was first identified and named after a river in the north of the country. It affects a part of a country racked by violence for more than 20 years, from all-out war to insurgency and sustained ethnic clashes. One person has died after a building collapsed in Abuja, Nigeria. The building in the Jabi area of Abuja had been used by traders who occupied the ground floor. A large crowd looked on as emergency personnel worked in the pouring rain to clean away mounds of grey concrete bricks with cranes and heavy equipment. Building collapses are common in Nigeria, where building codes are regularly flouted. Pakistan's new Prime Minister and former cricket player who captained Pakistan to World Cup victory in 1992, Imran Khan, has been sworn in, officially taking over the reins of power in the nuclear-armed country after his party won a July 25th election. The swearing-in ceremony, which took place in the president's house in the capital, marks the end of decades of rotating leadership between the outside Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz and Pakistan People's Party, punctuated by periods of army rule. Khan swore to bear true faith and allegiance to Pakistan and to discharge his duties and perform his functions honestly to the best of his ability.
To some sporting action, it is an action-packed rugby weekend with the national 15s rugby team playing Namibia in a winner-takes-all Africa Gold Cup match, while homeboys seek to continue their winning start to the national 7th circuit. Now, Kenya Simbas make two changes from the side that beat Tunisia 64-0, with Cabra's Sugar flanker George Nyambua replacing Marty Owila at blindside, while homeboys fullback Tony Onyango is in for Vincent Mosse. Now, Dalmas Chitui, who scored 2 tries in the win over Zimbabwe, makes the bench alongside KCB trio of Peter Carrier, Moses Amusala and Curtis Lilako. AFC Leopards will look to pile more misery on relegation-threatened Thika United this afternoon at the Thika Stadium, round 27 of the Kenya Premier League. Ingwe are third on the log with 45 points, 20 points behind runaway leaders Gor Mahia, and they will be looking for a win that would cement their place in third. In other matches Saturday, Mathare United play Nakumatt at Camp Toyoyo and Nzoia Sugar battle Sofapaka at Sudi. Sunday will see Kariobangi Sharks take on Sony Sugar at Camp Toyoyo, and Posta Rangers play Ulinzi Stars. Tusker host Zoo at the Ruaraka grounds, while Vihiga United play Kakamega Homeboys at the Mumias complex. Fresh from a 5,000-meter win. Well, we'll take that story as soon as we are ready with it. Just bringing you up to speed with our breaking news is that the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan has died at the age of 80. His family has confirmed the same, and they say Kofi Annan was ailing, but that was a short illness, and he died surrounded by his family members peacefully. A lot of outpouring, especially with messages on Twitter and other social media sites, speaking of a man that they remember that lived all his life to ensure that all lived in peace. And actually, there's one quote that most are remembering him by, where he said that suffering anywhere concerns people everywhere. Again, this is a man who was part and parcel of the most tumultuous situations in the world over, including our own in Kenya in 2007, 2008 post-election violence, where we remember him for brokering peace, and of course following that very tumultuous time in our country. Again, the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan has passed away. The man will be remembered not only as serving at the UN, but also as a Nobel Peace Prize for humanitarian work. He goes after touching many lives, and many remember him as a man who bolstered peace everywhere he went. We'll keep you updated on the same as and when we receive the details. Well, we call it a bulletin for now. Much more coming your way at 7 p.m. and at 9 p.m. But remember, Top Sport is next. Stay tuned. My name is Gladys Gachanja.
This is NTV.